Welcome back. Lori Horton joining us in the studio today to teach us how to make her Copycat Star Crunch treats. So when I first saw this in our little playlist, I wasn't exactly sure what that meant, and I think I'm going to find out.
You're going to find out. We go back to Little Debbie, our inspiration today. We love Little Debbie.
We do.
These are a classic. A lot of people think, okay, what's in the Star Crunch? It's delicious, but what's in there? Essentially, it's a Rice Krispie treat.
Okay.
Who knew?
Well, now we know.
Now we know. Now, I'll ask, have you ever made Rice Krispie treats?
I don't make a lot of things. I'm not allowed to cook. So.
Right. So Rice Krispie treats are basically butter and marshmallows and Rice Krispies.
Okay.
So we're going to expand on that by making them chocolate and caramel.
Okay.
But we have to be a little bit patient with this one because there are some steps involved and there's a reason. So I'm going to start with a whole stick of butter. It's tax day, so we don't have to make health food, right?
It's tax day. We don't need to make healthy stuff today. People are going to need something sweet.
We need to relieve that stress. So we start with that whole stick of butter, and then this is where you can get the kids involved because we're going to add some caramels to that. The fun of this is you get to unwrap all of these one by one. So
that's where the kids get involved.
Or my whole Sunday, either way. So we're going to unwrap all of those caramels. You can buy the caramel bits also if you're lucky and the grocery store has them. I was not.
Okay, so you got the joy of these.
I got the joy of
I got you.
We're going to add that whole entire bag of caramels to that as well. But the secret is we really have to keep this on a low heat because we don't want to scorch that. We just want to melt it really slowly. We're going to add to it an entire bag of chocolate chips and whatever kind you want. I like mine a little bit, really get that good chocolate flavor. So splurge, go for the good Hershey's chocolate chips, the milk chocolate. They're delicious. Add that in there, and then this is just a 1/4 cup of milk. And when we bake, when we cook, we always want to remember to use whole milk because you want, again, it's not health food. We want all the fat in there.
Right.
And then just go slow. And this is going to take probably a good 5 to 10 minutes to melt.
Okay.
Because those caramels are solid, and we want to keep it on a low heat so we don't scorch anything, we don't burn anything. But you'll notice I didn't add any marshmallows yet.
No, there are no marshmallows in there.
No marshmallows yet.
They are here, but they are not in there.
They're not in there. We want to get all of this melted really slowly and thoroughly combined. All of that caramel, no streaks, no little bits of those caramel pieces left in there before we add the marshmallows.
Okay.
And the reason we're going to do that is because if we added those in there and we let those cook for like 10 minutes, they're going to scorch and you're going to get that kind of burnt flavor to it.
Okay, and we don't want that.
We don't want that. We want that delicious sweet vanilla marshmallowy flavor at the end. So very, very patient. And then once all of that is melted, we'll dump all of those marshmallows in there and let it go over that low heat a little longer until it lightens up a little bit and we get a really, really creamy mixture.
All right.
The next step, Rice Krispies, delicious pieces. But we'll talk about that in our next bit.
Okay, sounds good. So hopefully you have the patience to stick around with us for our 7 a.m. show where Lori will come back. And then we'll be right back with more after this. Welcome back to the KOA Morning News on Fox 14. Lori Horton joining us. She's begun creating her version of these things, these Star Crunches. They're behind the time and date, but they're right there. See, they look like that. The only thing is these are homemade, which probably makes them even better. So where are we at here?
It really does in a way because no shade to Little Debbie there. But
oh, absolutely. I mean, Little Debbie makes fantastic snacks.
She's a wizard. We can't say a word against her. But there's a lot of preservatives. There's a lot of things that we put in these to make them stay on the shelf for weeks and weeks on end. So in essence, these are a little bit better for you because these are just made with real food. So they're going to spoil, they're going to go bad, which means they're a little bit better for you.
Okay.
The other bonus is the ingredients that I put together for this are less cost than 2 boxes of these Little Debbies, and it's going to make about 4 dozen.
Okay, see, you can save money, which is kind of key right now.
It really is. And we're coming up on the end of that year when it's time to thank those teachers for putting up with the kiddos all year. Some of those things. I've put together some little boxes over here of them that are going to be a perfect little teacher thank you gift.
Boxes.
You got 8 or 10 in there, so kind of think along those lines. What we started with this morning was just a little bit of butter, milk, the chocolate chips, and the caramels. And if your taste runs more to the caramel side, I recommend swapping these out for some Werther's Original Soft candies.
Okay.
They work just the same, and they really boost that caramel. I'm all about the chocolate, so I splurged for the Hershey's.
Okay.
You got to.
You got to do it the right way, right?
That's
if you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
That's right. We melted those caramels and chocolate and butter low and slow, made sure that the caramels melted evenly and got fully incorporated into that chocolate. And once that mixture was really nice and smooth, then we added the marshmallows.
Right, and you mentioned that was key, because if you put the marshmallows in too early, they can scorch, and you
That's
don't
right.
want burnt. Some things are good burnt. Cheese, for example, can be
Absolutely.
good burned.
Absolutely.
But not necessarily marshmallows.
Not the marshmallows, unless you're that campfire person. And
Even
that's okay.
then, I mean, I don't want my marshmallow on fire when I eat it.
Absolutely not. So what we've got now is just a perfect blend, really nice and smooth. You can tell it's a little
yeah.
bit lighter colored in that chocolate than we started, and it's just a perfect mixture. So there's two schools of thoughts when it comes to a Rice Krispie treat. Do you pour the Rice Krispies into your mixture, or do you pour your mixture over the Rice Krispies? I think it's a little easier to just start with a big old bowl and pour that mixture over the top.
Okay.
So this is where you want to be a little bit careful, because this is nice and hot. So this is where you want to let those kiddos step back a little bit. And make sure you have a really big bowl, because this will get a little
Wow.
bit messy as you start to coat. This is about
It is
6 cups of Rice
Incredible
Krispies.
how much has come out of this pan, which does not seem that big.
Exactly.
But it's a lot more than what you might think.
It is a lot. This is, everybody's big popcorn bowl,
Yeah.
or, that one bowl you have in the house for everything.
Now, obviously, there were already Rice Krispies in this bowl.
Absolutely. We had 6 cups of Rice Krispies in there, and this is going to really nice and thoroughly coat those. If you listen close, you might even get
I've been hearing the
snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're doing it right. And you don't have to be a brand snob when it comes to the crisp rice cereal. Any kind will do, because you're just going to taste this coating that goes on the top. So there you can save a little bit too.
All right. Well, here in just a moment, we're going to come right back. We're going to finish these out and have more on these amazing little copycat Star Crunches. Stick with us.
At Aaron's 3 F-150, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Welcome back. So we are almost done with this incredible recipe for the copycat Star Crunches, the ones you can make yourself.
Absolutely. Super quick to put together at home. The longest part is that kind of patient melting of those caramels.
Yeah, you mentioned that takes about 10 minutes or so.
About
And that's
10
not that
minutes.
bad, but I mean, in today's world, we're used to everything is right away.
Right.
So you got to be patient.
You got to be a little patient, keep that heat low. But once we get to that point, then those marshmallows mix in quickly and melt fast. The mini marshmallows actually even melt a little faster, because just less surface area.
Of course.
And then we're going to dump all of that onto our Rice Krispies, and we've got a pretty typical looking bowl of what you'd think of as Rice Krispie treats, but instead of just that vanilla marshmallow, we've added in the chocolate and the caramel.
Yeah.
So now comes kind of the sticky part, because these do have caramel in them, so they're a little sticky. But we're going to just use our cookie scoop to portion them a little bit. You want to always put them out onto parchment paper, because they'll be a little gooey. And then here's my pro tip for the day. Get that pan spray out, spray your gloves or your hands, doesn't matter. If you got clean hands, that's okay. But spray those a little bit,
Okay.
so that when you go to mush these and form them,
They don't stick to
just
you.
stick to your hands.
Okay.
Little but less mess for you. But you want to form them into that little round shape with a little divot in the middle. And that way, in the end, they really, really look like your Star Crunch cookies. And,
Okay.
I never know whether to call these like a no-bake cookie, or are they a little bar? Are they a treat? I don't know. Whatever they are, they're delicious.
Oh, absolutely. Star Crunches are really good. When you make it yourself, for some reason, it's always a little better, you
They
know?
really are. They're a little softer. They stay fresh for a while. And like I say, these are a really great gift, because this is just one batch. So if you guys can see, where'd my bowl go? That makes a lot. And I portioned these out pretty close, maybe a little bit smaller than our Little Debbie ones here, but I literally got like 50 odd out of that, out of that one batch.
That's incredible.
And
too.
again, it's very inexpensive ingredients when it's all put together. The biggest thing would be if you swap out those caramels for the Werther's Originals. Of course, they're going to be a little bit more, but otherwise,
But in the long run, I think you're still saving money anyway. You can go for
Yeah,
those
and-
expensive ones, because this is going to make so many of these.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, your teachers do not need another coffee mug. They don't need another little tchotchke to sit on their desk. give them something delicious that they can
Right.
eat and enjoy, and maybe leave that school year with a sweet taste in their mouth.
Yeah, especially if your child has been a little wild or rambunctious that school year.
We don't know any of those. No.
No. All
This-
of our kids are perfect.
This can be a thank you, or in some cases, an apology.
yeah, that is true.
So true. So you want to take your time, portion these out, try and make them fairly even, but again, kind of smush them just a little bit. If you don't want to get those hands in there, these are not hot, by the way. They're warm, but they're not hot to the touch. So these are not, even with my gloves on, not burning my hands or
Okay.
anything of that. But you can even use the back of a measuring cup if you want to, but again, the key is to spray it with a little bit of that baking spray that we love, and that way you're not just making a sticky mess, you're actually smushing and portioning and flattening out. So it works fabulous either way.
All right, and these certainly look fantastic. Lori, thanks so much for coming in again this morning. We appreciate it as always. We'll have more sweet treats from Lori, of course, as we go through the month. And we will have all of this, of course, too, on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be back with a check of your forecast right after this.